Foreign money in Canada's elections. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. Is foreign money being used by the left to fight elections in this country? Federally, there's some proof of that, and shockingly, we found out from a Senate committee hearing last week that untold millions could be used, and there's nothing Elections Canada could do about it. Conservative Senator Linda Frum was quizzing Yves Cote, the Commissioner of Canada Elections, about foreign money coming into Canada. Cote just explained that foreign money can come into Canada through a third party if the third party has ties, links, business dealings in Canada.
From what I just heard you say, I could take a check of $10 million from Saudi Arabia, from Iran, from China. I can take any amount of money from a foreign contributor, so long as I, a Canadian, am receiving it.
The legislation as it reads now looks at contributions received by a third party within a period of 6 months before the drop of the writ to the end of the electoral campaign. So that is the period during which contributions that are received by a third party will be regulated.
Now, that rule has a loophole big enough to drive a truck through, one that Senator Frum quickly pointed out.
There's an obvious loophole there, which is if I take the contributions 6 months plus a day and I, save it until the writs drop, I'm now using unlimited foreign funds because there is no restriction on the amounts. And I can use that for my election activity.
Then, if the money was received before the 6 months, it comes mingled into the funds of the third party, and then the third party, under the regime as we have it now, is free to use that money.
Now, in fairness to Mr. Cote, he sees the problem and supports Parliament fixing it, and it's up to Parliament, MPs, senators to do that. But so far, that isn't happening. And given that groups like Lead Now, which has taken a lot of foreign money over the years and backed the Trudeau government, well, in fact, they helped them get elected, it's unlikely that Trudeau and his Liberals are going to change these rules anytime soon. We know that the Tides Foundation, a well-funded organization, a kind of left-wing slush fund for America's millionaires and billionaires, they funded Lead Now directly. 2013, they gave them a $25,000 grant for their New Economy campaign. That money helped Lead Now campaign against the Harper Conservatives. It was part of a larger campaign by Tides against Alberta's oil industry. That's the campaign that saw $212,000 go from San Francisco's Tides to Environmental Defense of Toronto in 2013. San Francisco to Toronto. It also saw $100,000 go from San Francisco to Greenpeace Canada that year. Dogwood Initiative. They got one grant for $75,000, another one for $25,000. In 2014, Tide sent Lead Now, which was already campaigning against the Conservatives, a $78,000 grant, quote, for research, education, and organizing on dirty fuels and pipelines. Dogwood got several grants worth a bit under $200,000 in 2015, the election year, for advocacy work against pipelines, the oil industry. So while Senator Frum is rightly worried about foreign money from hostile states like Russia or Iran, we already have evidence of money coming in from the United States and even Switzerland. The OKK Foundation, based in Switzerland, funded by British billionaire Alan Parker, gave a $97,000 grant to the West Coast Environmental Law Group, specifically to campaign for a change in government. Here's what they said. WCEL aims to establish the conditions under which A, opposition parties holding a parliamentary majority work together to enact legislative tanker ban under a minority government and or incorporate a ban promise into their manifestos committing to act following the election that produces a majority government. So all these groups, they're getting money from the U.S. and elsewhere. They can use it in campaigning in Canada, especially when you see how little Elections Canada actually monitors and controls third parties. They're actually only interested in groups that do old-fashioned election advertising, and that's what they monitor and control. What does that mean? Take a look at their website. Election advertising includes signs, newspapers, ads, and other print media, radio, and TV ads. Election messages posted online that have a placement cost. All right, that's a pretty good 20th century definition and plan for controlling third-party campaigning. But of course, modern campaigning has changed a lot since the days when you just bought some radio or TV spots, you put a full-page ad in the Globe and Mail, and you got your message out. Much of it today is about identifying the vote, getting the vote to commit to your cause, and then getting them to the polling stations. So all that foreign money coming into Canada, All that money for advocacy, for outreach, which leads to building lists that are used for voter contact, for voter ID. Want to know what Elections Canada doesn't track? All of that. Again, from their website. Election advertising does not include telephone calls, text or email messages posted on social media platforms, such as a video posted on YouTube or messages posted on Facebook or Twitter for which there is no placement cost. Content posted on a third party's website. The ongoing cost of creating and maintaining a website are not placement costs. Transmission of an editorial, debate, speech, interview, column, letter, commentary, or news. Door-to-door canvassing, unless canvassers distribute election advertising, such as pamphlets. So going door to door to get people to vote for anybody but the Conservatives, calling voters using a phone bank to get them to vote anybody but Conservative, putting up a website that tells people, based on expensive polling and targeting, which party they should vote for to defeat the Conservatives, none of that is covered by third-party spending limits. And the foreign money, it can come in from anywhere. These are the tactics used by Dogwood, by Lead Now, by a whole host of groups. They do run shadow campaigns, and the money can all be offshore, and Elections Canada doesn't monitor it at all. The Americans are worried about the Russians interfering in their elections. I think it's time that we worried here about changing the rules so that outside money doesn't influence our elections. It's funny to note that even in the land of free speech, the United States, this kind of campaigning without strict limits and reporting wouldn't even be allowed. If you like the Rebel video you just watched, make sure you never miss another one. Again, click here to subscribe. And if you subscribe to our old channel but haven't subscribed to Rebel Canada yet, make sure you do.